What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be digging into something that's vitally important to OA businesses of all sizes. We're going to be talking about the organizational perspective of how to really manage your OA business from start to finish, from order confirmation to ultimately delivery to your warehouse, your prep center, your house, wherever it goes, just to make sure there's no units that are kind of falling through the tracks, no units and no dollars that are being lost. So I promise you, if you wait to the end of this video, we are going to step your organizational game up, maximizing your business and ultimately squeezing every single dollar out of the units that are ultimately going into your business. Now, warning, it's not going to be necessarily the most exciting video. We're not going to be sourcing thousands and thousands of dollars of profit, but very worthwhile. So hold your attention for the next 10 to 15 minutes, and we are going to change your business. So we're here in Gmail. And so essentially what we're going to do, we're going to build out some automation within our Gmail email address, right? And so Gmail allows us to do a lot of cool stuff, and it's ultimately going to build some efficiencies within our email account, ultimately really streamlining the organization, right? So essentially what we're going to do, we're going to start on the left-hand side of our screen, and Gmail allows us to build labels inside our email, and we're going to use those labels to qualify and to classify all the emails that are coming into our email box. Right, so we're going to start by doing, and we're going to have 4 main umbrella emails, and those are essentially really going to dictate all of the email funneling that's going to happen. And so the first one we're going to do is order confirmation. And you can think of this as sort of like the chronological workflow of every order within your business. So obviously, you place an order, you get an order confirmation email. And actually, we're going to change this just a bit, and you'll see why in a second. We're just going to label it with an A just to make sure they are actually in chronological order from top to bottom. So we have order confirmation here. Next, we are going to, again, label it with a B just so it drops down below the A. And we're going to do tracking information. Make sure I can spell. Sometimes I can spell, sometimes I can't. Tracking information. Third one is going to be C, order delivery. And our final one is going to be order canceled. So those 4 kind of categorical email buckets are going to essentially classify every single pertinent email within our OA business. And we can add some more, and we'll talk about that down the line. So those are going to be the 4 buckets of emails and how we're going to filter them into different organizational tactics. From here, we can actually build, and every OA business likely has, a subset of sites that they order from continuously. So what I would recommend is create a subfolder within each of those buckets, right? So we can do Nike.com. And I'll try and speed this up I'll go as quickly as possible just so we can get to the good stuff. We'll do Nike. Man, it would help if I could spell. So Nike under tracking information. And then again, we'll do Nike.com under order delivery. And by this point, you likely see the goal. You likely see what we're trying to accomplish here. Right, so we're going to do a Nike.com under each of our 4 buckets, right? And I forgot that .com here. And you would build this out, build this infrastructure out up across all the different sites, right? So Kohl's, Dick's Sporting Goods, Foot Locker, every single site you order from, you're going to have a sub bucket, a subfolder within each umbrella, we'll call them, right? So we'll have all different subfolders under order confirmation, tracking information, order delivery, and order cancel. And so here's kind of where we're going to build out the automation. So we're going to come over here in settings, right? We're going to hit our gear, go to see all settings. And what this is going to allow us to do is build out filters, rules, automation systems that are going to funnel emails as they come in into each of our different buckets, right? So what we would do, and you would have, we can use create new filter. And you'll notice from all different sites, and this is where you're going to have to kind of go back into your email inbox just to kind of reference the emails that have already come in, right? So what you're going to want to do is create a different rule that segments each individual instance that you want to have, right? So obviously every order confirmation that comes in from Nike.com, we want to funnel into here. Every email that has information in terms of tracking, we're going to want to come into here. Every Nike.com email that has information regarding delivery here and order cancels here. And so whether they all come from the same email or not, what you're going to want to do is find an email of each of these different characteristics and just pull the email that it's coming from, right? So if it's coming from Nike.com or whatever it is, right? I know from like Dick's Sporting Goods and Kohl's, each email that meets each of these characteristics comes from the same place, but not all OA sites are built the same. So whichever bucket you're creating a rule for, you're going to want to go and pull the email that email is coming from and just kind of slip it into this from section. You can disregard the two. And now the subject and the has the words are both going to be super important to segment each of our different umbrellas, right? So obviously Nike.com filter is going to bring in all emails and segment all emails from Nike.com. But we got to take it a step further to make sure the order confirmations go here, tracking goes here, order delivery here, and order cancellation here. And so typically what you'll see is a lot of for example, the tracking information, it has in the subject shipped, right? And that's all you would need, right? So now you're telling Gmail, you're building out the automation that says, okay, emails that come from Nike.com and that has the word shipped in it will automatically funnel into the tracking information subfolder. Same thing with Nike.com order confirmation. And order confirmation subject may be thank you for your order. I mean, and so you'll have to go into your email and kind of segment off how the emails come in. But essentially the goal is you want to pull the from and you want to use either the subject or the has the words just to build out the rule enough to make sure that there is a unique identifier that funnels all the Nike.com emails that are order confirmations here, tracking here, delivery here, order cancel here, right? And so all you would do is create and then apply the specific label that you're trying to do, right? And so, of course, if it's an order confirmation, you're going to want to hit a order confirmation / Nike.com. And once we do that, and once we create the filter, any email that comes and meets that criteria is instantly going to go here. And so the cool thing is, right, as your business progresses, the emails are going to be dispersed inside each of the different buckets. Now, for authenticities, for example, and this is kind of the use case, right? One of the many use cases. When you get an authenticity, right? So Amazon emails you, you say the backpacks you sold, someone complained that they were fake, whatever the case may be. Look how easy it is to find that particular email, to get the receipts and issue those, send them into Amazon, and then you'll be good to go, right? So if I need to find a receipt for an order or a backpack that I need to be able to submit it to Amazon to beat an authenticity, click into the order confirmation, click into Nike, wherever they came from. Maybe I search backpacks, and instantly I'll have all the order confirmations or the receipts, and I just find the one that justify and align with the product I'm looking for, screenshot it or save it as PDF, submit it to Amazon, and we are instantly good to go, within a couple minutes. And so just from an account health perspective in beating authenticities, this kind of information, this organization is going to be huge. However, where it really, really gets interesting is building out a pipeline to manage your your infrastructure, right? To manage your pipeline from order in to units into Amazon, right? And so this is going to really align, and this is where it kind of gets to the next step with sort of like an order tracking spreadsheet, right? And so not to bore you with the, building out the Excel sheet, I went ahead and kind of filled out a bunch of the columns that I would probably suggest you have, and I'll explain how they're important. Right, so these are a bunch of the columns that are probably pretty useful just from an order tracking perspective, and we can quickly talk through each of them, right? So if I place an order, right, so obviously I can go and place an order 820. I know it's from Nike.com, a product, backpack, units, I got 10 units, buy cost $15, ASIN, right, enter in the ASIN, enter in the link, order confirmed. So now this is where it gets interesting, right? Because up to this point, you have all this information right off the bat. And whether you enter it in or you have a VA that's managing it, all this information is immediately accessible upon placing the order. Now, as your business progresses, right, you're going to place bunch of orders, right? ultimately some of these orders are going to start to progress, right? So now this order confirmed column comes into play. Anytime you get, right, and this is where a VA would probably manage this, right? Anytime an order confirmation from Nike.com comes in, a VA can acknowledge that email, now come in here and say, oh, I found the order, it confirmed, yes, bang, right? You could even enter the date of when you got that confirmation email, right? And the reason that's interesting is we can start to compare and contrast different suppliers and how efficiently they operate, right? So ultimately, our VA is monitoring our inbox and see an email pop into the tracking information that says, oh, Nike shipped this email or these units at this particular time. And so they can go in, tally up all the units and say, oh, Nike shipped 10 units, they're good to go. Along with, oh, I entered this in twice. Along with the tracking info, right? So tracking number 1, tracking number 2, and so on and so forth, right? Build out and reference all the different tracking numbers. And now you all can ultimately also put in, right, of course, corresponding with our infrastructure of the email, VA sees email pop up under the order delivery, and instantly they can acknowledge when they shipped it. And the reason why the dates are important is we can start to audit our sites, audit our suppliers, right? So once we kind of stack and compound hundreds of orders, maybe you see a trend of Nike taking a real long time to ship, right? It's very apparent how long a particular site is over time shipping your items, right? So maybe Kohl's, for example, is waiting a week to ship your items. That could be a problem for cash flow if that compounds with hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars, right? So just from an auditing perspective, from a site's perspective, it allows you to start to audit some of the more micro details that ultimately make a bigger difference as you scale your OA business. And now, again, Kohl's waiting a week to ship your items for a business that's doing $5,000 a month. It may not be a big deal, but when you spend $50,000 with Kohl's and each of those orders is shipped a week late, it can make an impact on your cash flow situation. And so just from an organizational and auditing perspective, it's useful to be able to compare and contrast maybe different sites that are operating in different timelines and so on and so forth, right? Now is where maybe you want to use a prep center, right? These columns come into play, right? So maybe we see from our prep center that they checked in 10 units. Awesome, it lines up. And then we can see inside our Amazon account an FBA shipment that says, okay, those 10 units checked in and are sent to Amazon. Ultimately, the goal is for this number and this number to match, right? Because these are units in, these are units out. The reason why, and the area where this spreadsheet really comes into play is where these don't match up, right? So say, for example, we bought 10 units. We can see based on the tracking information that they shipped 10 units. The prep center received 10 units, but you only see 8 pop up in your FBA shipments. Well, we know exactly where that discrepancy lies, right? The 2 units got lost at our prep center. Maybe, for example, we bought 10 units and we have tracking for only 8, and it's been a month or 2, right? We know exactly where the discrepancy lies. We bought 10. We only see they shipped 8. We have the tracking numbers to prove that. We can go right to our supplier and say, hey, you're missing 2 units. Can you refund me? Maybe you bought 10, they shipped 10, but only 8 arrived at our prep center. Again, you know exactly where that discrepancy lies. They shipped 10, we had the tracking numbers for 10, but only our prep center only checked in 8. So either 2 of them got lost or 2 of them just didn't get checked in at the prep center. And so these columns are going to allow you to do a lot of auditing from all the components of your OA business, from the units purchased, the units shipped, the units received at your prep center, as well, finally, and the most importantly, units shipped in to Amazon. Now, the reason and now the area where we can really start to kind of juice this sheet up a little bit is because you notice we entered in and we have links, we have sites, and we put the supplier column in there for a reason. And so I don't know, depending on your kind of savviness with Excel, you can actually build pivot tables off of this, right? So I can go in, insert a pivot table to a new sheet, label this Nike buy sheet. I can do product. I can put ASIN. I can put link. I can do buy cost. And all the while I'm updating my progress through orders, Excel can actually be updating my Nike buy sheet, right? And so maybe I want to build out, and I can have and refresh these tables automatically through Excel that updates all the products that I bought and sold through Nike. They're given by cost, all organized in one sheet, and I don't even have to update it. It's all pulled from this master sheet. And so I can actually build out different sheets for all different sites that I'm buying from and have Excel do a lot of the legwork in updating each of those different buy sheets. The other thing we can do is this. Where did my sheet go? This sheet ultimately and also acts as sort of like a master single source of truth for your buy cost. The same token we can do is a pivot table to update all of our buy sheets for a particular site. We can do it the same way to keep track of our monthly spend, right? Another pivot table, another sheet. I can do date, right? And you want to, organize it based on month, right? I could have date, I could have units, I could have buy cost, and then I can do a calculated field that determines out of each unit what's the value, and I can keep track of how much I'm spending on a monthly basis, right? So yes, this sheet is really geared towards, auditing our pipeline and flow of orders from purchased to Amazon, auditing our prep center, auditing our sites, auditing the UPS, the FedEx, the shipping facilities. But it can also organize my buy sheets. It can organize my master spend sheet and contribute to my P&L on a monthly basis. Contribute to calculating my spend goals that I've talked about on this sheet. And so this sheet really is going to do a lot of different things if you keep this organized, right? And now, of course, in the beginning, most of you guys, I'm sure, are going to be doing this yourselves on a daily or weekly basis, right? It's only going to be obviously as productive as you keep it. But when we talk about starting to onboard VAs, this email infrastructure is going to facilitate this sort of tracking mechanism, right? Because they can just be hanging out in this email. I can give them this email address. I can give them their login for this email. And really, they can fill out most of that information just by hanging out in this for these 4 buckets. They can be monitoring each of the order confirmations, so they see when orders get placed. They can itemize them here, right? They see when they get shipped, right? They can itemize the tracking, and obviously confirm that they were ordered and shipped and all that good stuff. They see when they get delivered, and so they can itemize and audit the shipping date, units received at Prep Center, and they can really monitor a lot of this stuff as well as Amazon emails, right? That say what got shipped and when. And so I can pretty much have them organize all of this without really having access to my credit cards, to my Amazon account. And it's going to allow us, to initialize that VA relationship, do a lot of tracking, and expose maybe some of the leakage points in an OA business that are inevitable. There's going to be a lot of times where you buy 10 units and only 7 or 6 or 8 got ultimately shipped to Amazon. And so those, at scale is going to be the difference of thousands of dollars on your P&L at the end of the month. So it's important to track this stuff. It's easy to do so with this sort of email setup that we showed you and walked through today. And I hope you guys implement this sort of tactic into your business. It will make a difference in your organization. I know it's not the most glamorous subject, but it does pay off, especially as you scale, right? Because this may not make a difference at a $5,000 a month OA business, but at a $100,000, $150,000 a month OA business, it can be the difference between $10,000 of profit and $8,000 of profit, or $6,000 of profit. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Reach out if you have any questions setting this up. You know where to find me: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, etc. Subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next one.